'Tis 7:15 a.m. You've just rolled out of bed, your mind clouded by unfulfilled dreams and a desperate need for coffee. You retreat to the one place in the house where privacy should be a fundamental right, the bathroom. You slam the door, or maybe leave it ajar, thinking you're alone. But then you hear it, the rhythmic clicking of nails on wood, followed by the soft gurgling of a body leaning against the door. A wet nose brushes the crack, and suddenly you have an audience. Your dog is there, staring at you with the intensity usually reserved for a falling steak. Most of us laugh about it. We call them Velcro dogs, or joke about their complete lack of boundaries. We assume they simply crave attention, or perhaps they're convinced that the moment they lose sight of us, we might vanish in a porcelain vortex. But behavioral neuroscience and evolutionary biology tell a completely different story. What your dog is doing right now in this cramped, tiled space is one of the most complex manifestations of an ancient survival instinct and deep psychological attachment in the animal kingdom. She's not here because she's curious. She's here because she believes you're currently in a state of extreme danger. And most owners have no idea that their dog is actually serving double duty as a vital bodyguard. Let's start with the separation anxiety theory because it makes sense. We've been told for years that if a dog follows you around, it's unstable or overly dependent. We think, oh, Max just can't leave my side for even 30 seconds. But here's the problem with that logic. A dog with true separation anxiety doesn't just sit quietly at your feet while you brush your teeth. They pace, they whine, they engage in destructive behavior because their nervous system is in fight or flight mode. If your dog calmly watches you use the toilet, their heart rate is likely stable. They're not panicking, so if that's not anxiety, what is it? Consider the alternatives your dog has at that moment. They could curl up on the expensive foam mattress in the living room. They could watch a squirrel through the window or doze in the sun, hitting the carpet at a perfect 22 degrees Celsius. And yet, they choose the cold, cramped bathroom floor. Why? To understand the answer, we must look beyond the domestic pet and see the biological mechanism underlying it. We must consider the safe haven effect, a concept that connects the nursery and the dog park. In the world of psychology, there's a well-known concept called attachment theory, originally developed to describe the bond between infants and their caregivers. But in a landmark study conducted at Eötvös-Loránd University in Hungary, researchers led by Dr. Adam Miklosi discovered something unusual. Using a modified version of the strange situation test, a procedure used to observe attachment, the researchers discovered that dogs mimic the attachment styles of human children with striking accuracy. They found that 61% of dogs perceive their owners as secure support. When your dog follows you to the bathroom, they are demonstrating the most fundamental behavior in attachment psychology. In the wild, loneliness is a death sentence. For a dog, together means life. But there's a deeper layer. Research has shown that dogs want to be close to you for more than just their own safety. They monitor your location to ensure the integrity of the pack unit. By following you into a small enclosed room, they're checking the perimeter of your den. They're not clinging. They're telling you that you're their center of attraction, and a break in their visual contact with you is a glitch in their survival system. But here's where it gets interesting. Because this isn't just psychology, it's chemistry. There's a neurochemical feedback loop that has co-evolved in dogs and humans over 15,000 years. It centers on the hormone oxytocin, often called the love hormone or the cuddle chemical. In a groundbreaking 2015 study published in the journal Science, researcher Takafumi Kikusui and his team at Azabu University in Japan found that when dogs and humans look into each other's eyes, both species experience a massive spike in oxytocin. For the dogs, the increase was a staggering 130%. For the humans, an unbelievable 300%. This is a biological phenomenon that doesn't happen between humans and wolves, even those raised by hand. It is a unique, cross-species love loop. When you are in the bathroom, you are stationary. You are a captive audience. This creates the perfect environment for gaze sharing. While you're scrolling through your phone, your dog is staring at you. effectively self-medicating with a dose of oxytocin triggered by your presence. Now, think about what happens over 10 minutes of this behavior. Your dog isn't just sitting there, they are syncing their chemical state to yours. This physical proximity amplifies the loop. It's why you might feel a strange sense of, when did this behavior start? The answer is basically from the beginning. If we go back 15,000 years, long before agriculture or the written word, our ancestors sat around campfires. In that world, vulnerability had a very specific meaning. For an animal, the act of elimination or even just being stationary for a long period is the most dangerous moment of the day. It's the moment a predator strikes. In ancient wolf packs, members would take turns acting as sentinels while others ate, slept, or relieved themselves. As wolves transitioned into dogs, this sentinel duty didn't disappear. It shifted toward us. Archaeological findings in sites like Von Oberkassel show dogs buried alongside humans with evidence of intensive care, proving that even 14,000 years ago, these weren't just working animals, they were family. The twist in the bathroom behavior is this: your dog sees you sitting down, distracted, and stationary. In their evolutionary memory, this is a red alert moment. They think you are vulnerable. They think you are weak in that moment because you aren't scanning the horizon for threats. So, they stand guard. They aren't watching you go to the bathroom. They are watching the door. They are performing a sentinel duty because they think you are currently unable to protect yourself. Now, I want to tell you about a study that nobody talks about because the finding seems impossible at first. A few years ago, researchers looked at the cost of this proximity. They found that dogs who follow their owners into bathrooms or sleep in their beds often experience disrupted sleep. They move more, they react to more noises, and their sleep cycles are technically lower quality than dogs who sleep alone in a quiet room. And yet, despite the objective decrease in sleep quality, almost every single participant in these studies, both human and canine, reported feeling a higher sense of subjective well-being and lower stress markers the next morning. How is that possible? The answer is deep. Psychological safety is more valuable to the mammalian brain than physical comfort. Your dog would rather have a bad night's sleep next to you than a perfect night's sleep away from you. Maybe your dog isn't ruining your privacy. Maybe they're restoring something more ancient than the concept of a private bathroom, the feeling of absolute pack-level security. And this is where it gets deep. The most recent research from 2024 at the University of Jyväskylä in Finland has taken this even further. Researchers used wearable sensors to track the heart rate variability, or HRV, of dogs and their owners simultaneously. HRV is a key indicator of how the nervous system handles stress. What they found was extraordinary. Within minutes of being in the same small space, like say a bathroom, the dogs and their owners showed correlated biological patterns. Their heart began to rise and fall in a synchronized dance. Their nervous systems were literally in sync. This only happens within bonded pairs. When the researchers tried this with strangers, the synchronization was non-existent. This means that when your dog is sitting there on the bath mat while you're in the shower, your bodies are actually talking to each other on a cellular level. Sleeping or sitting beside your dog isn't just a psychological comfort, it's a neurological event that stabilizes your heart and lowers your cortisol levels. There's one last thing I need to tell you, and it might be the most important part of this video. Dogs are creatures of habit. Their bathroom buddy behavior is usually a lifelong commitment. If your dog has been doing this for months or years and then one day they suddenly stop, don't brush it off as them finally growing up. When a deeply established behavior disappears overnight, there's always a reason. It could be environmental, a new loud fan in the bathroom or a change in your schedule, but it can also be the earliest sign of physical pain. Dogs are masters at hiding discomfort. They won't limp or cry until the pain is severe, but they will stop doing things that require effort, like getting up from a nap to follow you down the hallway. In older dogs, a sudden loss of the following instinct can be an early indicator of canine cognitive dysfunction syndrome, or CCDS, essentially dog dementia, which affects roughly 28% of dogs aged 11 to 12. Your dog doesn't have language. Behavior is the only way they can tell you something is wrong. If the bathroom buddy retires unexpectedly, pay attention. They might be the one who needs a sentinel now. So, the next time you're in the bathroom at 7 a.m. and you see that familiar shadow under the door, or feel that warm weight against your shins, remember what's actually happening. You aren't just a person in a bathroom. You are the leader of a two-member pack. You are a secure base in a confusing world.